Welcome to Tuesday's edition of Big Blue Kickoff Live, presented by Cadillac, the official luxury vehicle of the New York Giants. So glad you could join us today for the next hour. I'm Paul Dottino, two-time Super Bowl champ Jonathan Casillas with me this afternoon. We're going to talk Giants football. We've got rookie camp coming up on Friday. Yeah, it's here already as we continue to move through the offseason schedule and figure out exactly what the Giants are doing to prepare for the 2024 season. Our phone number, and we invite you to call in. Want to take a lot of phone calls today. 201-939-4513. 201-939-4513. We'll be here for the next hour. You can also go hashtag Giants Chat on Twitter if you prefer. And as a reminder, you can always find an archive of this show and our entire podcast network on the Giants mobile app, podcast platforms everywhere, and at giants.com/podcasts. Jonathan, I think for me, the starting point here, since this is your one appearance of the week and the only time this week on the program that will have a former player co-hosting, I think it's probably pretty cool to get some of your reflections and also some of your perceptions as to what rookie minicamp is about. Mm-hmm. Now, we all know the Giants made their 6 draft selections a little over a week ago. Guys had some time to digest it, get their families kind of acclimated to what's going on. Guys have flown in, they've met everybody, they flew back, they got some of their belongings. Now they got to come back and they got to get ready because on Friday they will report for rookie minicamp. Now, I know we were talking before the show, you were injured your rookie season, so I know some of your perspectives will be a little bit different than what these guys have. But what is it like for that week leading into the rookie minicamp for these young players who are going to set foot on the field for the first time wearing a professional uniform? Because I have to imagine, regardless of their confidence, they were butterflies.
Oh, 100%. 100%. And my situation was a little interesting because I was hurt basically after my senior year. I did a little bit, just try to put some out there before the combine. But when I showed up, I was still hurt, really. So I still had to, rehab the knee. I had surgery on finishing my senior year. So I was out. But this is something that scared every single person. This is before we even played any type of football whatsoever. We did anything, rookie minicamp, we did anything. One of the quarterbacks that was picked up, I think he was an undrafted guy from UCLA. We didn't even do rookie minicamp yet. We were just like getting in the building. He already got cut. So we seen him on our way in and he was sitting on his bags and I was confused about it, and I was like, where are you going, bro? We got to do something later. He already got cut.
Before the rookie minicamp?
Before, anything
like
really
got
got going. Yeah. So the rookie's been in already, right? They already been in the building, right?
Well, not yet. Here,
so you know what? It was right after the rookie minicamp. It was right after the rookie minicamp.
So at least he had gotten on the field.
He got to the rookie minicamp. Okay. Yeah.
Thank goodness he got on the field.
Right. My bad. So he actually got on the field, but but before training camp and all that stuff. Yeah. So that shocked everybody. But rookie minicamp, I wasn't participating in it. But what I did see, and I didn't know it because that's my first year as well, the pace. They don't know pace. They're coming in and they think they got to be 100 miles per hour from the first go. There are legit walkthroughs in the NFL that I'm not saying it doesn't happen in college, but when you are a college guy and you get drafted or you're a free agent, whatever, like me, I was a free agent from the draft, signing right after the draft. When you come in, like you said, the butterflies are there, your nerves are there, and you want to go out and put on your best impression. You don't want to never get beat by nobody, so you go out there, you're running 100 miles per hour in the walkthrough. I remember them kept telling the guys I gotta relax, it's a walkthrough, and then they kind of just let it go for a little bit, and then the following week when the veterans got in and you seen the pace change, it was like, oh, a walkthrough is literally a walkthrough. There's nobody running, so it's such a learning curve, and the nerves being there too. Nobody wants to be caught walking on the field. Nobody wants to be caught, not playing at a high speed. So they're a little bit turned up a little bit too much in rookie minicamp.
Mm-hmm. We've often heard that the first impression is the most important impression. So how difficult I don't want to say pressure because everybody has their own pressure, but how difficult is it for a rookie who's going to walk out to the field for the first time? Not necessarily a draft pick, but an undrafted guy specifically. He walks out there on Friday for the first time, and he's probably like literally, I would think, as tight as a drum, not wanting to miss a direction, not wanting to misunderstand a direction, making sure he's exactly on time.
Yep.
I mean, every T crossed, every I dotted for fear that could be the thing that sends you home.
Yeah, it was definitely something that was on everybody's mind when I was coming out as a rookie in New Orleans in 2009. And, you know, but rightfully so, though, you know, like because it is a professional business, and, you know, leaving the collegiate ranks where, you know, you played with, you know, not the best players in the world, but, you know, this is the cream of the crop. I came from Division I. You play with the cream of the crop guys, you know, all throughout the country. And then you get to the league. Now you take that cream of the crop guys and you shave off the top of that. And it's really the cream of the crop. And you go in and you know, it is tight, but if I can give these guys any type of, you know, advice in any type of way, I think the best thing, what you need to do is going in, you need to show them that you can learn, you know, picking up the playbook before you even go out there, you know, and then also if you make a mistake, don't make the same mistake again. And then, you know, let your athletic ability speak for itself when you fully understand what you're doing. And maybe you don't fully understand it, but at least you have a good grasp over it, because they don't put too much on the rookies. You know, it's not, they're not getting the whole playbook. They're getting maybe a tenth of the playbook. So they're trying to see how fast these guys can play. Also, they want to see their natural ability. So they don't want to have them thinking too much. So you should be able to get that playbook down. And if you're struggling getting that very, very, very limited playbook, I think that's very alarming, you know, for these coaches, because it's very vanilla. It's very vanilla here. And they're doing basic cover 2, cover 3 stuff, 4 or 5 man front. Like they're not mixing it up too much in you know, not even preseason. At this time of the year, you know, we're not even close to minicamp yet. Like, you know, the guy's not even getting after it quite yet. But rookie minicamp, I think it's a good introduction to see how guys learn. They want to see how fast guys play. When they get out there with very limited information, very limited knowledge of exactly the you know, the scheme and the theme of what they actually going to do during a year, it's like an introduction to football. It's like a 101, football 101 class. It's like, all right, let's see what your general knowledge is, and let your athleticism and your football IQ speak for itself.
Now, again, your situation was different because you were hurt coming in. But I wonder, after all the training that these guys have done after the season to prepare for the combine, and their pro days, by the way, too, right? I would think you get drafted. You're so pumped to get drafted, or in many cases, undrafted guys, right? The week or so before the rookie minicamp, I'd want to put myself in bubble wrap, right?
Yeah.
I pull a hamstring walking out the front door. I can't report to rookie minicamp saying that I'm hurt, right?
If there's any guy in the NFL that pulls a hamstring walking out the door, they shouldn't be playing at all.
I'll grant you that. But my point is, whatever may have happened to you, you may have literally like stepped off the curb and gotten hit by a school bus.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You're coming the first day of rookie minicamp,
100%. Yeah.
and you are not under any circumstances admitting to any type of malady whatsoever.
Right. I wanted to perform too, but I couldn't really, you know, get after as I wanted to.
You had a pre-existing condition.
Right, I had surgery. Yeah,
that's what I mean.
Yeah, right before
that's a little
the end of the
different
season, really.
than, you know, because
like tweaking something, right? Like tweaking a hammy, like running or rolling an ankle, getting a turf toe, some very common little things that can be really big. You know, I get you.
Yeah, I mean, because I'm assuming, and again, you know, I haven't talked to this new class of kids yet. Outside of when the draft was done, we talked a little bit, but over the years, I'm sure that some of the training techniques have changed. The schedule has changed. What they're doing has changed. But all these kids busted their butts. And we hear all the time from coaches during the rookie season of these players. Like, these guys, finally, after their rookie season's over, they get a chance to breathe.
Yeah.
Because from the time they played their last college season, through the combine, through the pro day, then they've got the spring drills and everything. Physically, they haven't had much chance to recoup or to rest at all.
Basically, since their junior year, if you really think about it.
It's been taxing,
because
right?
you think about going into your senior year, this is the year, right? This is the year where your dreams can come true after this season, right? and you go into this training camp, of course, leading up to your senior year in college, and then you have your whole entire senior year that you're playing, week in and week out. You rest, not really rest, but you're not playing games for like 3 weeks, given for the bowl game, if you make it to a bowl game, and then you do your bowl game. There's no break like the NFL. When you're done with the season, every single player takes a break, whether they go on vacation or they just mentally and physically getting away from football. You're not training the next day after the season.
Right.
That does not happen in the NFL.
Correct.
But in college, it does, because you have to prepare yourself for post senior year things, whatever it is. Senior Bowl invites that comes like really right after bowl game season, so you got to prep for that. You got to practice for that, and then you're also the entire time, right after you're done playing your senior season, which I'm gonna say the bowl season is always like late December, early January. You're training for the combine, and the combine's in February, or you're training for your pro day, which is in February or March. So even if you don't play in none of those games and you have, you potential to play in the NFL, you're going to be training as hard as you possibly can, as many days of the week as you can. You're going to be trying to recover and all of that. So you're literally locked in from the beginning of your senior year, which is before school year starts in August or late July, August. You go all the way through, and then you get to this point where you have been training, and maybe they kind of dialed it back a little bit, but what they don't want to do is show up the rookie minicamp out of shape. So they've definitely been doing football stuff. And they've definitely been doing, on their own individually training wherever they're training. I'm talking about these rookies coming in. They've been training, and they haven't done anything. Can you hear me? We having like a little mic issues right now. I don't know if anybody can hear me. Paul, can you talk?
So, yeah.
Yeah.
I can say it's working.
Okay, good. I couldn't hear myself. So basically, before your senior year, all the way until after your first year. So that's how many months is that? You know what I mean?
It could be a full 2 years.
It's almost 2 years of basically not taking a break from football. And you're training hard. You're lifting weights. You're running your conditioning. You're doing all your treatments. You're doing everything you need to do to survive in the NFL. And you literally don't get a break till after your rookie season.
Okay, so to my point, in the week prior to coming into rookie minicamp, you could very easily tweak something.
Yeah.
Which is the last thing in the world that you want to do.
I don't think guys think like that. I know I didn't think like that, even though I was hurt at the time.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I got hurt. I had surgery my senior year. I got hurt going into my senior year.
Difference.
It's a little bit different, but I don't think guys think like that, and I don't think you should think like that. I think you should be smart, but you shouldn't not do the things that got you to the point where you're at. Right. You should still be lifting weights, and I'm not saying heavy, but you don't want to be, overworked when you get to rookie minicamp, because rookie minicamp is so hard because you have a limited number of bodies, not like regular training camp in the beginning. And like I said, the pace is turned up because the guys don't really know what a walkthrough is. Right. The guys don't know the actual pace of the NFL. Pace of the NFL is not as fast as college, and then also you put in the fact that all of these guys are trying to make roster spots. When you're even Neighbors, like he's coming in as a first-round draft pick. Okay, maybe he's wide receiver number 1, but he still never played in the NFL. He's still got to make the team. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, even though, of course, he's going to probably be wide receiver number 1, but he still has to go out and prove that he was a number 1 draft pick for a reason. And that mindset going into it, I just don't think nobody's turning it down this week in terms of leading up to it. Okay. Maybe they're more conscious about it, but I never thought like that, and I never thought that I should watch what I'm doing, to prevent from injury because it's getting to the certain point. No, I had a routine, the things that I would do, and I would ramp up whatever I was doing off-season wise training, knowing that I was coming into whatever mini camp it was, whatever training camp it was, and even OTAs, and I had to be in some type of shape.
All right, I got some more stuff I want to ask you about that, but I see the calls. Well, they were lighting up a second ago. What happened there, Dan? Did we lose them?
They saw the audio.
We lost him.
They didn't like the audio.
201-939-4513 is our phone number, 201-939-4513. Our lines are open again. I saw them flashing, and now they went dark all of a sudden. So please give us a call. We'd love to talk to you guys today. Let me go to the competitive factor. Again, the draft picks, they come to rookie camp. They want to make a good impression, but we all know they're going to, in all likelihood, they're making it to training camp.
But not, to training camp.
We know that. I mean,
hopefully.
if you're cutting a draft choice after rookie camp, something's very wrong.
Yeah.
Okay? But the undrafted rookie free agents who come to rookie minicamp.
Mm-hmm.
Now, every single minute is a fight for their lives.
Yeah.
Is there a camaraderie, or is the competition overtake your emotions as an undrafted rookie free agent? Can you be side by side with that guy and not think about, well, one of us could be going home tomorrow?
Right. I hear what you're saying. That's a great question too. And I can only speak for, the one rookie training camp year that I've had. And we were all friends, man. Like, we were all, because it was, besides Malcolm Jenkins, who was the number 1 pick, I felt like nobody else was safe in that locker room. Nobody else was safe. So, as people know that their cuts happen, and I was mistaken thinking that the kid that got cut, he was a quarterback, he got cut before, but he actually got cut after rookie minicamp during the OTA session. That's when he got cut.
And chances are he did something wrong.
I don't know. He was the quarterback, and he never showed anything. I don't know. I really don't know. I really don't know. But we didn't know, and it scared us because once that happened, and now the story is relevant because now I timed it correctly. So once he got released or cut, that's when everybody was like, "Yo, they're cutting people right now." Like, we didn't even know, and he didn't even really get out there and have a chance to show, what he had really. Like, I don't think he had an opportunity to really do so, and that kept everybody on alert. So fast forward to training camp, come late July and August, the Saints rookies were in a separate locker room than everybody else. So after practice, when every single rookie's in that locker room, right, and everybody's all accounted for, and we're all, shooting the breeze about what just happened, in practice. And, we're talking, man, I caught you, man. I mean, you got that pass, like, just talking smack. When that door opens and it's the guy coming looking for people, like, that's a very scary feeling.
I believe it.
As an undrafted guy that was hurt, like, basically half the preseason. I remember Jeremy Parnell. He was a 6'8". At the time, I think he was a defensive end. At the time, there was a guy that ended up playing for Dallas for a while at left tackle. But at first, he came in as like a tight end, and then they moved him to defense, and then they moved him to D tackle. He was like my locker buddy. You know what I'm saying? And every time he came in, we would look at each other and just like act like we were busy. I've never felt that way in my life, Paul. Like, I've never felt like I could just lose my job at any time. Of course, I didn't have the job quite yet.
Right.
But like, once they come in, they grab you, like, that's it. And not to say you never hear from them guys again, but a lot of those guys that get snatched out of there, you never hear from them again. And that's a very nerve-wracking situation.
It's like being an extra on The Sopranos.
See, I don't know too much about that.
You're here today and you suddenly disappear tomorrow.
But that's the truth. That statement is absolutely the truth. And that's a nerve-wracking feeling, But as of right now, going into this rookie minicamp, it's all rookies. You know what I mean? And maybe, do they have a first-year guy or a second-year guy? Because they've had a couple guys like that.
They could have some exception tryouts that
Right,
could come in.
right.
Guys who have had some time in the practice squad.
Even
and
some
stuff like that.
some younger guys who possibly was hurt last year. They want to kind of put them out there just to get their feet underneath them, which is, I think, a great thing for them to do, especially guys that are injured. But right now, it's a good time to evaluate to see what you have, and then also potential free agents that can possibly stay on the roster and impact the team in training camp and see if they can actually make the final roster.
Jonathan, the phones have lit up.
Yeah, let's
exactly.
do it.
So the phone bank is working.
Yeah.
We're glad now.
You put out the call, man.
They have lit up again, and they are full. So we're going to get to your calls in just a second. I got to read these announcements. They're obligatory. You know them by heart, but we've got to tell you anyway. The Giants Huddle podcast has all kinds of interviews with coaches, former players, NFL dignitaries. We talk all about in long form format, all about issues relating to the National Football League and the Giants. You can subscribe to your favorite podcast platform or go to giants.com/podcasts. Giants season memberships. Well, you can follow the team all the way through the season with a season ticket membership. Stay connected They are now available for the 2024 season. To learn more about the exclusive member benefits, visit Giants.com/tickets. Limited inventory is available. And Giants TV is the official TV streaming app. Has all kinds of original video content. You can get all kinds of great stuff on it. It's free on Apple TV, Roku, Amazon Free TV, and the Giants mobile app. Those announcements are out of the way. We take your phone calls now at 201-939-4513. The first caller of today's program is on line 1. It is Charlie from Portland, Maine. Hello, Charlie.
Hey, good morning, Paul.
How you been?
Afternoon, JC. Hey, well, actually, I had COVID. 4 years I've avoided it. Yeah,
you got COVID in 2024.
But you're okay now.
Still a thing?
Yeah, I'm okay now.
Good.
Good to hear, Charlie.
I had all the short shots. I mean, the first 2 days was bad. But I'll tell you one thing: if you want really good abs and get a six-pack, get COVID for a week and just cough.
Oh,
and
man.
my abs are just incredible right now.
All right. This is where we put the little asterisk on the bottom of the screen and say, this is not official medical advice. Do not try this at home.
No, it's
How about
not.
that?
That's good. Hey, no, look, this would be my, JC, this would be my, and Paul, this would be my attitude. If I was an undrafted free agent or even a draft choice going in to camp, this would be my attitude. I am good. I know who I am. I know how I can play. I know I can play in this league. I have no doubts. And if you guys have a blind spot and can't see it, so be it. I will find a team that can. That would be my attitude. And if the Giants can't see it, another team will see it. And that would be my attitude. I wouldn't be scared. I know I'm confident in myself and what I've done, who I am, what I can do. The only caveat is just don't get injured. Don't get some little stupid injury that they can say, well, I don't want to wait for you. Goodbye.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, that's my attitude. And that's an attitude that I think everyone should have. You should be confident in yourself. You got there, whether you're undrafted or not. And if you guys can't see it, I mean, how many players have left the Giants and then all of a sudden, they got on another team and they're really good, right? Because the Giants couldn't see who they were, but another team did see who they were, or they fit their scheme, or whatever you want to say. So that would be my attitude. Was that your attitude, JC?
No, I wasn't. I was just trying to get healthy so I can play, And
I know.
But listen, Charlie, I was supposed to be drafted, so I think, I was on all the draft boards, anywhere from people saw me getting drafted as early as the second round to like fourth or fifth round, and I ended up going undrafted. So I did have that notion, that feeling, and that belief in myself for sure, 100%. But it's a different story when you get out there, and you're just, not to say you're there's so much nerves there, man, because everything's new, and like it sounds good when you say it, and I believe that now, and I would think that now. I just think it was totally different rookie year. Everybody was just so nervous. Especially the guys that was drafted either in the later rounds or the undrafted guys. Like every single day was nerve-wracking for us. Like every day. When we put them pads on, when it came to training camp, we were nervous. And in rookie minicamp, Charlie, there's no other eyes on you but the team. Like there's no film going out to other teams.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's not like whatever I do in rookie minicamp, the other team to see it. No, it's only the Giants that's seeing it. So that this is really some of these guys' only shot.
That's true.
To slide on and, become a New York Giant just for the preseason. We're not even talking about for the season. We're talking about just for the preseason. So it sounds good when you say it, and I believe it now, and I probably believed it in year 2. But in year 1, man, I was just nervous, man.
Charlie, just to understand what's at stake for the undrafted rookie free agents more so than anybody else. For those guys, until they get preseason snaps to put on tape, no other NFL scout is getting to see anything that they've done over the course of the summer.
Right, since their college year.
That's it. So what can you do in that month's 3-4 months time frame from the spring until you get to August in the preseason games? The only quote football people who will see you are your team itself and the CFL scouts, the Arena League scouts.
People that come to watch it at practice.
Right.
Yeah.
Because the other football leagues, whether it's the CFL again, or it's the Arena League, or it's the UFL, or it's some German football league, some European football league, those are the only people that are going to be allowed to see anything that you've done until you get into a preseason game. And, of course, if you don't do enough of good things in training camp, you might wind up seeing 5 snaps in the preseason, which is basically nothing.
Yeah.
So there is a lot at stake for these guys. Regardless of the confidence level that they have, they need to get their best foot forward to impress the people who are on this property as soon as possible.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's not Charlie, because what you were saying is kind of like the mindset of going in a training camp.
Yeah.
Which is like, I'm going to a training camp, I get to that preseason game, no matter how many snaps I get, whether it's 10 snaps or 3 snaps, I'm going to put my best foot forward, and at least I got some film out there. So if they don't want me, that's not the case during this period of time.
During this period,
everything is basically, you got to do your best this weekend. You got what? How many practices are they doing? Probably 5 or 6 practices in 3 days, right? Something like that?
Because not all these rookie camp guys get to even come to training camp in July.
Right.
They're already slicing this thing to ribbons.
Yep.
But, JC, let me ask you this. Did fear and being nervous bring you to the point that you came to the NFL? I mean, was that what brought you to the NFL? Fear?
No.
Being nervous?
No.
Exactly. That's what I'm... Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, Charlie, don't do that. Yeah, everybody has to have confidence.
Yes.
You have to have confidence and assertiveness to perform at your best, to give yourself an opportunity. I don't think anybody would disagree with you, Charlie. Actually, this is a really good call that you've brought to us today.
Yeah.
And I do compliment you for that, and I'm glad you're feeling better. Is there anything else?
Well, thank you, guys.
All right, appreciate
the only thing I'd say...
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, the only thing I'll say about the draft, we made a big mistake. We didn't take a quarterback. We could have. And New England doubled down and took 2 quarterbacks. And it's going to be interesting to, since I'm up here in New England, to hear how Drake is doing and how Joe Millions is doing.
Okay, I don't want to belabor this, Charlie, but I want to give you a chance. Give me a real quick comeback answer now. Which draft pick would you have used on a quarterback? And because obviously the Giants only had 6.
Right.
They had 1 in each of the first 6 rounds. Which quarterback would you have taken, and at which round would you have taken him? I'm assuming there was no trades.
Right. I mean, I'm a Penix guy. I would have taken him at 6.
Ooh.
Really?
I would have taken him at 6.
Okay, so you're on the record. You're on the record, and I wanted to give you that chance.
Yeah. Okay, guys.
All right, Charlie. Thanks for the call.
Thanks, Charlie.
201-939-4513. Have you been on since the draft?
Yes, maybe once, I think.
So did you have a chance to give a thumbnail on what you thought of the six-man class?
Mm-mm.
Would you you know what? We got a couple more calls to get to. Why don't we get to that before?
Yeah, we'll do the calls.
Over?
I don't really know the guys, to be honest. I just got to go off what we're hearing from the guys. Because I don't watch college football.
I'll give
you my perspective. Let's take the calls,
Let's get the calls in first. We'll get to it.
I will.
All right, let's go back to the phones. 201-939-4513 is our phone number, and we go to Ryan in Peoria, Illinois. You're next on Big Blue Kickoff Live. Hello.
Hey, guys. What's going on?
Good to talk to you.
I've got a prediction and then a question about some fits for the offense. So, firstly, it's been a big off-season element that everyone's talking about with the offensive line. We must do better. I've got a very bold prediction for us. So I think the Giants will have the greatest reduction in sacks from one year to the next in NFL history. They gave up 85 last year. I think that they might give up 35 less sacks. And I know that's a huge, huge number, but I genuinely think that they're going to take a huge jump just because now that they've got Malik Neighbors, those quick outs will be just a huge save for the weak side, and the tackles won't have to collapse so quickly. I really think that there's going to be a just drastic change and upswing from the offensive line. I'm trying to manifest it to be
I like it. Yeah, keep saying it.
We talked a lot last week on the show about using a lot of quick game in the passing attack, and that would have a lot of implications and a lot of different different results from it. But let me ask you this. You say they'll have the largest reduction in sacks year to year. Do you know what the record is? I don't.
I don't either.
But do you know what it is?
Looking into it, I have no idea. And I think you guys would maybe have more.
No, to be honest with you, that's
Paul's the number guy.
That would be an Elias thing, I think, to be quite frank with you. I don't know what that number is, and I would probably, even if I tried to get it, I would probably say, okay, since 2000, like in the last 23 years, go back to 2000.
More relevant.
Because the game they're passing so much more now anyway. So even if you want to do the last 10 years, maybe, because again, it's become so much of a passing league that those numbers are definitely impacted by the style of play that we have morphed into.
Yeah.
So, but it's an interesting thought, and whatever that number is,
and keep manifesting, bro. I'm with you. I'm on the same page, and I think all of Giants fans out there will be on the same page with you as well if that thing happens. What else you got?
And I know it doesn't really matter the exact number, but just a major, upgrade from that. And also, I think everyone says that Saquon being in the building, oh man, he was our only weapon. I really think that it's actually going to benefit us, because if you can have 6 or 7 somewhat dangerous guys who could potentially get the ball, I think that'll be a benefit compared to, it's going to go to 26 every single time. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think.
Well, let me just stop you right there. The benefit comes that you get to add more players in. The benefit is not having him on the like. You're not going to say this guy replacing him is a benefit. Saquon leaving allowed the Giants to do certain things in free agency, like sign Burns. You know what I mean? Like, they were able to do some things, but like, there's no one on this Giants roster that can do anything that Saquon can do. Like, and I love Singletary. I think he's a really good player. Mm-hmm. I think Malik Neighbors is going to be really good. But like, at the end of the day, the Giants really couldn't focus on Saquon. Saquon saved the Giants' offense. That's why I saw Saquon. If they didn't have Saquon, I don't know what the Giants' offense would have been last year. It was already horrible with him, And there's no. Look, you can replace him with committee, but you can't replace him. You can't replace his explosiveness. You can't replace his competitiveness. You can't replace what he's done and what he meant in the community. Like Saquon, yes, he was a loss. Can we be better without him? Yes. But there's no player that's going to be like, oh, this guy is replacing him and he's better. That ain't happening, bro. There's only like maybe 2 guys I would take in the league over Saquon.
Ryan, I think the easiest way for me to explain why I would disagree, and I'm going to ask Jonathan to chip in here, because as a defensive player, he knows that when the game plan is being built on Monday, that they're going to face such and such a team coming up on Sunday. He knows that offense starts with that guy, and that's where the game plan starts, okay? I call them headache players because they keep the coordinators up all night on Monday trying to figure out how are we going to deal with that guy. Mm-hmm. Barkley was the only headache player on the Giants offense last year.
Yep.
Right now, we don't know if they have a headache player. We hope Neighbors is.
Yep.
But right now, we don't know. Waller was supposed to be. He got hurt. Didn't work out that way. So to me, and you tell me, the value of going up against a defense that has at least one headache player as opposed to having none, it's different.
Yeah, 100%. Every single week, even that the league has evolved into this passing, league where, points matter, wide receivers matter, are getting paid the big bucks now over the running backs. As a linebacker, when I go into any game, not to say I'm not worried about the wide receivers, but to me, that's the corners and safeties job, really. I'll probably deal with the receivers at some time, especially me being a coverage linebacker. Mm-hmm. But, like, at the end of the day, if this guy that is one of the better guys in the league is going to get 25 touches of the football, and it creates –
and can take it to the house on any one of them.
And is dynamic and can do so many different things. He can do things in the running game. He can do things in the passing game. Like, that makes me stay up late at night. Like when you have a guy like Saquon, like I remember, playing against LaShawn McCoy, and people, for me, he was very underrated. He wasn't at they're very different playing styles, but LaShawn McCoy, he was getting like 1,200 yards a year, and he was a threat in that receiving game as well. Mm-hmm. Going against Adrian Peterson, go against Marshawn Lynch. Some of these guys, man, like, you better put your big boy pads on, man. And then also because you have to play a defense according to that running back. You have to have 8 guys in the box playing against guys like that. So now that creates more opportunities on the outside, and it's making our corner jobs harder and our safety jobs harder. So it's hard to like agree with you when I know the value of having a dynamic running back that you can give the ball 12 times to. He can rush for 100 yards. I mean, look, the offensive line has not been good consistently for the Giants, right? 2022, I think we had a really good year. I think the run game was really good. Daniel Jones played very efficient football.
The line was functional
right?
Year.
But look, at the end of the day, the Giants were a running team, and it was led by Saquon.
Yeah.
You know, and think about the last 10 years the Giants have had. That was the best year the Giants have had besides 2016, and it was basically because Saquon.
Ryan, the idea basically is they're going to hope that adding talent across the board, spread out across this offense.
Offense and defense, though, too.
Yes, defense, too, and special teams.
Yep.
The idea is that a rising tide will lift all boats. And that's the way they're trying to play it this year.
Yeah.
But to just suggest that, you know, the one go-to guy, you know, is automatically going to make them better. Defenses play differently when they know there's a superstar stud on the other side of the line. The Giants would be better off if they had one. They just didn't have enough support.
Yep.
Thanks for the call, Ryan. Appreciate it.
One other thing.
Yeah, go ahead, real quick.
You guys got to go. I was just going to say, one thing that I've been interested with Malik Neighbors is that a lot of draft analysts were saying, oh, maybe Rome Odunze would be the better fit. Can you guys talk about maybe how Malik and Wan'Dale can be on the field at the same time, and Brian Daboll's offensive mind could maybe make it a benefit to have both of those guys working together, even though they maybe play somewhat of the same position, you know, kind of how they can mix it up and really keep it fresh.
Thank you, Ryan. 201-939-4513. One of the things we mentioned when Neighbors was drafted here, you could actually line them up in a bunch, and that's going to be quite an issue for a bunch of corners to deal with.
Yep.
You could even line up maybe one in one slot and one in the other slot. Mm-hmm. You could do that too.
Yep.
Neighbors, of course, does have more boundary capability than Robinson has.
Right.
Robinson's really a slot guy.
Yeah.
That's really
he's a smaller, he's a diminutive guy too. He's what, 5'8", maybe 5'9" at the max. Yeah.
Neighbors is 6 feet at least.
Yeah.
So he can play some boundary, and I'm sure that he's going to play a bunch of boundary too. But the thing that made Neighbors a better fit, and I remember I was an Odunze guy.
You were Odunze guy,
I wanted Odunze to be here because I thought he would be the unicorn in the room, and I wanted to add the unicorn. I always suspected that Daboll would like the better fit in Neighbors. I wanted Odunze. Neighbors, he gives Kafka and Daboll, I think, a better opportunity to use more schematics for the quick passing game because of his ability to get off the line quickly, to get that separation, and to have the juke ability for yards after the catch. I think that Kafka and Daboll like to base their offensive passing game more around that style than going back, putting pressure on the offensive line to protect, and then telling the quarterback, get the ball downfield with your arm.
Yeah.
I think they prefer the other style of passing game, of which Neighbors is a part of. Would you agree?
Yeah. And we did our little dive in with the University of Washington when we talked about Odunze, and doing my research, I found out that Odunze, he doesn't get open that much. He has one of the highest contested catch rates in college football last year, which could be a really good thing. But what that told me is that he's not creating that much separation. But when you have a guy like that, like Plaxico Burress, I know he's in the building somewhere today.
Is he?
He's a guy that not to say he wouldn't get open, but think about his career. He had a lot of contested catches in his career. And because he was
big ones.
He was like that.
Big ones.
He was really like that. So it's not that he won't have success, but I think in this offense, which presents for me with whether it's Daniel Jones or Drew Lock, giving them an opportunity to hit open receivers that can get open. I think Wan'Dale is one of those guys. I think Malik Neighbors, from the limited amount of stuff I've seen from him, is one of those guys. And I think you have a valid deep threat in Jalen Hyatt. So that allows you to kind of do certain things and and have the short passing game be available to you with guys that are open and not every catch is contested. Because if you're contesting every catch, that means there are defenders closer to you. That means more tips are going to happen, and tips for short passes are not good. Those are not good. I mean, good for the defense. That's not good for the offense. So the ability to get open and catch that 6-yard slant route, catch that little hitch route, and even go down right away, I think that presents a good opportunity for whoever's starting quarterback for Giants week 1.
I think a lot of the plays that would have been designed for Kadarius Toney will be designed for Malik Neighbors, to be honest.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying they're the same player. Let me make something very clear. But a lot of the play designs, I think, are going to be to get him the ball as soon as possible and let him do things with his juke ability, as I like to call it. Let that be the way you get the ball downfield.
Yep. And let's rewind back to 2015 and 2016, Odell's first and second years in the NFL, where a lot of his deep passes, they were caught 5-6 yards close to the line of scrimmage.
Bunch of
right around them linebackers, right in front of those safeties.
That's it.
And he was able to catch that ball, a nicely thrown ball, in a tight window. But some of them are zones, some of them are man-to-man coverages. But he'll catch that ball and make a 6 to 10 yard catch, and he would take it 70 yards. Right. I think that was the thought process of what Neighbors could bring to the Giants.
I get it. Yep. I get it. You know, again, I wanted the skyscraper, but I totally understand it. And I think this guy's a better fit for the offense. Again, when I told you folks, I was telling you what I would do if I were in charge.
Right.
I wasn't telling you what the Giants were going to do. Because, John and I talked many times since the Combine, and we both agreed. Yeah. They're probably going to take the other guy.
Yeah. We kind of knew, like, where the Giants was at if they stayed at 6.
Right.
If they moved up, that's a whole different story, right? If they moved up, you think they would have to go for quarterback if they were moved up.
And then if
they move back, who knows, right, what would have happened then?
Thank goodness.
But if they stayed at 6, it was basically between 2 players, Neighbors and Adonze, basically, right?
That's the way it was falling down. All right, let's go quickly. Jeff in Maine, you're next on Big Blue Kickoff Live. Hello.
Hey, afternoon, gentlemen.
Hi.
So there's been a lot of talk about trying to improve the quarterback room, especially in terms of durability, and I think that we really have. I think that a under-the-radar free agent signing on offense could be Drew Lock. I think he's bigger, he's younger, and so I think he's got a bigger upside. I like Tyrod Taylor. I wanted to re-sign him, but I think he's definitely an upgrade. But mainly I think that he's going to be more durable. And, in today's NFL, you got to expect the second stringers and even the third stringers to play during the season, especially if you have an offensive line that's not as good as Eli Manning had. And I'm excited. And also I think that going into this year, the third string quarterback is going to be better.
Tommy DeVito.
When he first got on the field last year, he wasn't even NFL ready. They wouldn't even let him pass, and now he's got a full season under his belt. So now I think he's a legit third stringer.
Joe Shane and Brian Dable have already said that during the offseason that they believe Tommy DeVito's come a long way.
Yeah. We saw it happen last year in front of our eyes too.
There are some guys who will get a cup of coffee in this league, or even more than that, who have never led a game-winning 2-minute drive in their NFL tenure.
And Tommy DeVito got
Tommy
it on his
DeVito
belt.
did that against Green Bay.
Yeah, he did. Yep. It's a solid playoff team, too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Totally. Well, anyway, that was the only point I wanted to make, so I appreciate the show.
Thank you, Jeff.
I appreciate it.
201-939-4513.
I just want to make one comment that Jeff said, that he said Drew Lock is an upgrade over Tyrod. I don't think that's the case at all. I love Tyrod.
Well,
I
his
think
track
Tyrod
record is that he's healthier. I think that's where
he did say that too, but he kind of did it as separate points. He said that he was an upgrade and he's more durable. I think the upgrade is because he's durable.
Yeah, well, Tyrod did take the Bills to the playoffs one year.
Right. No, Tyrod. I love Tyrod. I just hated that basically we had 2 injured quarterbacks. A guy who had injury history before in Daniel Jones, not as much as Tyrod, and then Tyrod being, I don't want to use that word injury prone, but every time he's played for the New York Giants, he's gotten hurt. Every time. When he came in, in 2022 when he came in, and he had a nice deep ball down the sideline, then he scrambled. I think that first game he got knocked out the game.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, right
Okay.
now I can.
Okay, 'cause
There's been some
mines are
static
going in and
on
out.
the headset. Interestingly enough, the Jets now have 3 injured quarterbacks on their roster.
Oh my gosh.
They got Rodgers, they got Taylor, and they drafted Jordan Travis out of Florida State. So they're playing with fire for sure. But hey, we wish Tyrod Taylor the best because he's a really good dude, a great teammate, and a really
and he
really
can
good
dress
dude.
really well.
Let's try to see if we can hear Len from Columbia on line 1. Again, we're having some staticky issues with our headsets, but I hope we can hear you, Len. Hello.
Yeah, I'm hearing you loud and clear. There was
Okay.
a
What's up,
little
man?
static there. There was a little static there for about 30 seconds, but I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay.
Same here.
Yeah, okay. Hey, I hate to start on a somber note, but sorry to hear about Aaron Thomas passing.
Yeah, a couple days ago. He and Joe Walton were the 2 original tight ends in Giants history back in the early 60s.
Imagine. Just imagine.
Yep.
Just imagine. Yeah, Thomas got us through some of those bleak years. A terrific player. Paul,
Remember the Saints touchdown that they didn't allow in 1970? Okay,
no.
never mind.
Okay. No,
Never mind. Cost this team a playoff spot. Go right ahead.
Okay.
1970.
Oh, I do remember that. Once you said playoffs, yeah, okay.
Cost the Giants a playoff spot. He was inside the left sideline of the end zone.
Yep.
And Tarkenton got it to him. It was a touchdown. Giants should have won the game. And they ruled him out of bounds. There was no replay.
My mom was 3 years old.
Okay, relax, Jonathan. It's okay.
Just checking my memory bank, Paul. He wore number 88.
Yes, he did.
Okay, there you go.
That's incredible.
Okay, well, sorry to hear about that. Listen, nice time of year. Nice time of year to be a fan. A lot of optimism. Feeling good about the draft. Can't wait for the season, etc. Let me make a quick prediction on our opponents for the first 3 games. I know we're going to get schedule released next week. I think we open at home against our oldest opponent, the Washington Commanders.
You think so?
I think that's going to be it. And I think we will move to Pittsburgh and play the Steelers the following Sunday. And then we're back at MetLife on Thursday night against Saquon and the Eagles. That's as far as I'll take.
Len, I will say one thing to you. Knowing Mike North as I do, and he's the guy who's in charge of the office that does the schedules for the NFL, knowing how they feel and what are some of their priorities when they make the schedule, I feel very confident with a capital V and a capital C. Saquon Barkley and the Eagles will be visiting MetLife Stadium sometime in September on a nationally televised game.
That's what he said.
So.
He said Thursday.
Yeah.
That I can assure you is a very confident prediction on my part. Now, is it the first week, second week, third week? I don't know. But knowing how they think, that's going to happen.
Yeah, and I can't imagine that, being at the, our 100th anniversary, not just of the Giants, but of pro football in New York, I think they'll match us up with our oldest rival, or the one we've played the most.
That would be fine.
In Washington.
Could be the Colts, too,
I think
Len.
it makes too,
right?
I think it makes too much sense. And
I mean, I know Indianapolis isn't Baltimore, but we get a home game with the Colts this year. I'd be good with the Giants-Colts opening day, too. I think there's a lot of...
That'll be interesting.
Just with the logos, there's a lot of...
That would,
right?
That would be a good one.
That'd be a good one, too. Now, I will say this. I hope it is one of those teams because I would hate to see Barkley and the Eagles overshadow the opening of the 100th season of the Giants.
Right.
And the hype of Barkley coming back here would to take away from the 100th. So I don't want that to be opening day. Yeah.
Okay, let me move on to something else. Underrated coaching signing. The assistant offensive line coach, Ferentz, long-time NFL center. He kind of hung in there for 8 or 9 years with the Patriots. Belichick drafted him.
Yes, sir.
Here, and I'm gonna say here for one reason and one reason only: help John Michael reach his full potential.
Yep.
I think that's going to be his job, and if he wants his own room someday, I think this is his first coaching job. He just retired from football. He's probably only 30 years old.
Let me see. I'll check on that.
if he wants his own room someday, he can accelerate that move toward that by turning John Michael into a full-time, long-time NFL center. So that's my underrated signing on the coaching staff.
Well, that's a pretty good one.
Yeah, Jonathan, most of the off season, you were assuring us that we would be seeing quarterbacks coming in and on this roster before training camp started. And, of course, we got a little time before training camp starts. But are you kind of surprised that we're sitting there with only 3 and one of them injured at this point?
No, I'm not surprised. They addressed, I think, the unhealthy room. I think they addressed them bringing in Drew Lock. Because Tyrod we just spoke about Tyrod being kind of, injury-prone guy guy that gets hurt a lot. Let's say that. I don't like saying injury-prone. A guy that gets hurt frequently. How about that? And then you actually have an injured quarterback in Daniel Jones. Now you have 2 healthy quarterbacks on the roster. You have Drew Lock and you have Tommy Cutlets.
Tommy.
I combined the nicknames. You have Tommy Cutlets. So you have 2 healthy quarterbacks, and that's what I knew that the Giants needed to do. The Giants need to have 2 healthy quarterbacks, whether they re-sign Tyrod, which I didn't like that because of his injury history, and then you had Tommy DeVito as well. So I think they did address it, bringing in Drew Lock. Was it the way I would have went? Probably not.
Yeah.
But they do have a guy. If Daniel Jones cannot go week 1, you have a guy who's actually played in the NFL, who's young, and who has talent that can win games. He showed it last year, to start week 1.
Yeah. I was more concerned about the numbers, Jonathan.
No, I like it.
Not necessarily.
I like it. I like the numbers. I like the numbers now.
Well, if Daniel's not ready by the start of training camp, we're sitting there with 2 quarterbacks. I mean, you can't do a training camp with 2 quarterbacks, can you?
I mean, yes, you can. Will they do it is the question,
obviously
right?
you can if you want to, but I mean that doesn't make much sense.
Well,
Go
ahead. No, you finish.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, you don't see us bringing in another quarterback?
Well, I mean, they're going to have at least 2 quarterbacks here for this weekend, right?
Yeah,
rookies.
I know there was one for sure that's reported outside in the internet. I don't know if that was ever confirmed, and I don't know if they were able to get a second guy in.
Right. So
probably
after this rookie minicamp, they may keep one of these guys.
You never can tell.
Yeah, you never know. So we're not there yet, Len. Like training camp's not here yet. You know what I mean?
All right,
By training camp, I think you do need 3 healthy quarterbacks on the roster. Yeah. Or if Daniel Jones is good enough to have limited practices and take snaps and maybe wear a different color jersey, so he's not actually getting contact. Like that's where I'll be like, okay, maybe you don't bring another quarterback, and then I would think that Daniel Jones is definitely going to play week 1. You know what I mean? Like if there's any issue of him not playing week 1 or him not being available to practice, I'm not talking about practice fully. As long as he's out there with the team, kind of taking normal reps and maybe not getting contact, I think they can work with that. If not, if he's not taking reps, I think they possibly bring in a quarterback.
Okay, I think there's only one at this point, as Paul suggested. Invitees to this rookie minicamp is a quarterback from Division III Wabash College in Indiana. And here's a trivia question for you. Do you know what the nickname for the athletic teams is of the Wabash College?
No, I do not, Lynn.
The Little Giants.
Okay.
Really?
Very cool.
There you go. Hey, guys, thanks for taking my call. Let's go Giants.
Thanks, Lynn. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. We only have a couple minutes left. Folks, we're going to save the calls for tomorrow at 201-939-4513. Only have got a couple minutes left. I did want Jonathan to give us a quick thumbnail overview on your perception of the 6-member draft class. You don't have to detail each one of the guys. Again, I know you didn't do a lot of film work prior.
I'm going to watch them now. Like I'm going to watch them. I'm probably going to – you're going to be around this weekend, right?
Oh, I'll be here.
Yeah. So I'll probably come hang out with you a little bit and probably watch these guys so I get my eyes on them. And then in training camp, I'll always come to at least 2 or 3 practices early on.
Sure.
So I at least can look at them. And then I watch what I see on film. Because not to say I don't care what you did in college, but I really don't. You know what I mean? Like, I want to see what you do here on this level.
I got you here.
Right. I want to see what you do
at 0.
on this level and what you look like, and I would do my analysis then. Because it's not hard to tell if a guy can play or not. I can go in and look at him around other grown men, around other people that played in the league, and watch how they compete, watch how they, do drills and all of that stuff going into it, and I can tell right away, I like that guy. From one practice, I can tell. You know what I mean? Then you get the games and all that stuff. So if you look at it, right, I think we don't got to speak about neighbors too much, but
no.
I think the Giants, this offseason in general, I think they hit all of the boxes that they need to hit. I think they didn't touch the offensive line during the draft because they hit it during free agency. Bringing in Luminor, bringing in John Ryan, right? I think they hit that. Yeah. They brought in guys.
Backup center from Minnesota.
They brought in guys in free agency to hit the offensive line, right? Now, and they also brought in Burns to address the pass rush, right? Now, when you look at the draft, what do they do in the draft? They hit, I think, the number one concern about the offense last year that it wasn't explosive and they didn't really have a go-to guy. They did that with the first pick with a guy that, if you look at it, he was the guy. If you think about what the offense needed, it was him. The big-time receiver from Ohio State, he wasn't going to be around. Everybody knew that.
Harrison was never going to be.
You know what I'm saying?
We're hoping, but never.
Right. So you added the explosive element that the Giants lacked, and especially now that Saquon's gone, which he was really the only guy that, was a danger guy, you have another guy that could potentially be a danger guy. A guy where you come in and, hey, guys, we got this guy out here. He's a rookie, but he's pretty freaking good. So I think you did that. And then the next 2 picks, they addressed the back end, right? They got the number 1 safety. The Giants lost a really good safety in McKinney, so they got the number 1 safety in the draft at pick number 47.
Yeah.
I don't know how he plays. I just didn't, I know what he did, what they say he did.
13 picks.
Right. I know that. I know he's a little older. I know he played for 6 years. Like, I know those things, but I didn't watch him play, so I don't know how he's going to do. But I know he was a number 1 safety coming out this year. I think that's pretty good. The first round, you get top 3 receiver, however you want to look at it, in a really good receiving year. And then the second round, you hit a need at defensive back, and you get the number 1 player coming out, at that position, at safety, which you need a safety. Everybody knew that. And then the next round, they drafted a kid from Kentucky, the corner, which we need defensive backs. The Giants need that. So they're hitting needs.
How about the tight end in the 4th round?
Theo Johnson, athletic guy. We covered the Penn State and Wisconsin that 1 week.
Really good pick.
And an athlete coming out, very underutilized at Penn State. But again, I got to see what this guy's all about. The measurements look good. His athleticism is off the charts. That always translates well at that position in the NFL. It always does. I think a questionable return of Waller, and for me, an underwhelming 2023 performance by Waller.
Yep.
And then Bellinger, I think statistic-wise, he wasn't there last year, but he's still there. He's still young. And, unlike Waller, who has played in the league for a while, and who's on, I think, the back 9 of his career with all the injuries that he's had, with all of the snaps that he's played, you have a young guy in Bellinger that could play, I think, multiple positions, the tight end, on the ball, off the ball, H-back type positions. And now you have a guy in Theo Johnson who's another young guy, and they addressed the other tight ends as well. They brought in other tight ends. So the Giants, right, they're addressing needs. It's not like they're just bringing in guys. It's like, why are they bringing him? We know why they're bringing in every single guy that they either drafted or they brought into free agency. I don't know how none of these guys are going to do. We all thought Evan Neal was going to be one of the better young tackles in the league. That's what I'm saying. I never go off college. I can't go off college. That's why I don't focus on college. I don't watch college. I watch when I get to the league. I go to practice. I see them at practice. And then I watch film. And that proves everything I need to know. We're not going to know how any of these guys truly are until after this season ends, if they all stay healthy, right? I think they hit the needs that they were supposed to hit. Maybe not the way I would have done at quarterback in terms of Drew Lock. I don't know if I would have drafted a guy or not. You know what I mean? That's that's for me, is not a delicate situation, but I think a point of interest for the New York Giants ever since they paid Daniel Jones, right? Ever since they paid Daniel Jones, it's like now the microscope's on him, very underperforming, underwhelming year in 2023.
Right.
Now everybody focuses like, what are they going to do at quarterback? I don't know if they address it the right way, and we're not going to know. We're not going to know till after the season.
No,
but I think they hit the needs and they checked the boxes. The question marks that they had, they answered them.
All right. There you have it. Jonathan Casillas and Paul Dottino on Big Blue Kickoff Live. We are here every weekday live on Giants.com from 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time till 1:30 in the afternoon for 1 hour to talk Giants football. As always, the show is presented by Cadillac, the official luxury vehicle of the New York Giants. We'll see you next time.